Good evening. My name is Shashi. I'm Senior Director with Cisco looking after data center cloud solutions. I'd just like to thank SRII for setting up this forum for information exchange in the world. What I'm going to share today is something that's very much in the media, the concept of open networking, software-defined networking, programmability. For those who are monitoring this space, you'll see a lot that is in the media, being debated upon, acquisitions happening, and it's a pretty exciting space right now. And I'm just going to share some context based on what we as a network company are seeing, and also some of the solutions that we're in a position to provide. So first of all, what is precipitating this? Everything's been going on well. People are communicating, voice, video, data, everything is coming onto the network. But what's really changing? So today we know a lot of these Uber trends, if you will. Cloud is really taking off. It is no longer a buzzword. We've had a couple of companies here already talking about video in the cloud as well. Mobility, the concept of bring your own device, this is really picked up as well. And what this is resulting in is a whole lot of what we call as the data deluge. A huge amount of data that is coming in. And so, you see a number of companies here which are also looking at data analytics, both the data which is static as well as data in motion. So, the question here is, when this is in motion, when this is on the network, is the network becoming a bottleneck? Is it a challenge or is it an opportunity? That's what customers are seeing for the most part. If you're in a position to harness the value of the network, then it really becomes an opportunity. So, what is the evolution that we're trying to go towards? Clearly, when we evolve the network, we don't want to throw away what is working. Today, if you can have an earthquake happen, you can have a typhoon hit a city, but the internet is built in such a resilient manner that you can still have everything up and running. So the distributed nature, the resiliency is really a positive feature. We're in a position to scale. Look at something like Facebook, a company that was non-existent a few years ago, now it's sitting close to 1 billion users, all of which are accessing it on the network. You're in a position to scale. So clearly there are a lot of positives that you don't want to throw away. But if we want to position for the next set of requirements, what is being asked is to bring a degree of operational simplicity. How do you manage this change? How do you bring in the affinity to applications? And perhaps something that's more on the administrative side is, can you make the network somewhat analogous to the compute in a sense, and you program it as well. So that has sort of come about as the key aspect, the programmability angle, and when we're looking at the network evolution, those are some of the things that we're looking at. So from an industry perspective, there has been a lot of buzz around some of these protocols, some of these technologies. OpenFlow, for example, has taken a lot of media space, the concept of software-defined networking. I just wanted to share with you, because there's so much hype around it, some of the basic definitions. Today, OpenFlow is a protocol that is largely led by the Open Network Foundation, and it is a protocol. It is not a routing stack or anything like that. You can actually extend it. Primarily, the state the protocol is in, we're seeing a lot of researchers use it to largely replicate things that are existing today. Likewise, with the concept of software-defined networking, the way Open Networking Forum defines it is the decoupling of your control and data plane and being able to program or manipulate the control plane. Likewise, OpenStack is yet another consortium largely focused on open source and really building cloud-based infrastructure environments. There are multiple working groups focused on networking, computing, and services. Lastly, there's a lot of buzz around the concept of overlay networks. Here, what customers are looking for is the ability to run an overlay protocol on something that already exists, whether it's physical or virtual. So governing a lot of these are industry standards. I talked about Open Network Foundation. Likewise, OpenStack is another consortium. But you'll see that these standards really need to be reconciled with a lot of existing primary standard bodies, whether they be IETF, IEEE, ITU, and so on. So the next little while, we can expect the process of rationalization and reconciliation to happen. So when we talk to our customers on, what exactly do you want with regards to programmability, and here, because we're in a position to have perhaps the world's largest focus group of network customers, today you've been exposed to various flavors of vertical access. Predominantly, the requests for things like OpenFlow and SDN are coming in from research and academic institutions, and they want to take it, see what they can do, and bring some degree of parity with what they have today, and evolve it. With massively scalable data centers, the Web 2.0 social media companies, what they are asking for is to bring a level of deep programmability through application programming interfaces into the devices themselves. With cloud-based environments, it's really about building multi-tenancy, bringing in automated provisioning, programmable overlay, and so on. Likewise, with service providers, it's being able to bring a policy-based control, analytics, tying it to things that they can monetize, optimize, and so on. And finally, with the traditional enterprise, which is where they really don't have the kind of resources that you would typically see in Web 2.0 company like Google or Facebook, they are a little more conservative in terms of how they want to evolve. But essentially, they're stepping into virtualization, they're experimenting with cloud, so a lot of their care about virtual workloads, desktop virtualization. So the bottom line is, there's a diverse set of programmability requirements based on use cases that we're seeing across the board. And essentially, the promise is something like this. Today, there's a lot of value, a lot of intelligence that the network contains. And if we're providing the ability to harness this network intelligence, feed it into an analytics engine, whether it be Watson or anything like that, depending on what kind of analytics engine customers have, you then are in a position to program it through whatever policies you want to use, and which in turn really programs the underlying network and optimizes it for the use case or for the experience that is provided. So this is really where we as a company see a lot of the innovation and the directional alignment happening. And if you look at the industry in general, there are several deployment models. For simplicity, here is yet another analogy. A lot of us today use iPhones. If you look at the way that Apple engineers their iPhone, they own the hardware, they own the software, and because they're in a position to bring that tighter integration, they're also in a position to provide a better integrated experience. Likewise, you have Google with their Android OS. So what Google does is license their operating system to a variety of phone manufacturers. So you can potentially have every phone manufacturer leveraging that operating system, extending it, and maybe building some value-added stack on top of that. So the benefit here is there are multiple options to choose from. The third is really the Skype model, where Skype doesn't own the underlying infrastructure, but given endpoint connectivity, it's able to establish a best effort voice call on top of the existing infrastructure. So this is really analogous to what we call as the overlay. So each of these, there is no pros and cons. There's benefits to all approaches. Many customers really look at multiple approaches based on what they want to do. And now if you really map it in the context of networks, what's really happening is in the first model, there are vendors that are in a position to bring the tight integration between hardware and software, and through a rich set of APIs, open it up for developers to come and really write to the network and leverage applications. The second is the controller model with, this is where the SDN aspects fit in, the controller OpenFlow model. There are some who are writing OpenFlow agents to their existing devices, others that are developing controller software, and others who may be doing things with protocols outside of OpenFlow as well. But here is where the disaggregated model starts to come in. The third is really the virtual overlay model, where the existing infrastructure should be agnostic, you're running an overlay which may or may not have consistency with what is underground. So from a Cisco perspective, obviously today we're in a position to support all of these models and really offer that as a choice. And this is going to be a cultural shift in many ways, because for developers to come and write two networks, which is really a business grade offering for them, it's going to take a while. So it's not going to happen overnight, and there are baby steps being taken in each of these three different deployment scenarios. We're investing in SDN concepts, we're investing in bringing APIs across our entire millions of devices that have been deployed for routers and switches, and bringing it in a consistent way. As also, in the third bucket, looking at concepts like network virtualization and overlay, wherein, again, because we have the physical footprint, we're in a position to bring consistency across all of them. So this essentially is what we call as Cisco's open network environment, Cisco One, and the intent and the vision here is really to bring hardware and software together, and to continue to really blur the boundaries between network and compute, as well as to bring in consistency across physical and virtual. And as I mentioned, we will be doing it through a set of platform APIs, controller and agents, as well as virtual overlay monitoring. So for more information, that's the URL that we can have you go to. It's fairly simple to remember: cisco.com/go/one. So the SRII team asked us to share one innovation, and because Cisco had so many, we literally chose the one innovation here to share with you. But again, this is going to be something that the industry as a whole is looking at different lenses through. I'm sure those of you are in any way remotely interested in networking or dabbling with it will be a part of this journey. So with that, I'd like to thank you again and appreciate your listening.